Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing? How y'all doing this morning? How's everybody? That's right. It's Wednesday. What's up? What's up? What's up, Steph? I see you hanging out on Instagram. What's up, Miss Hope, Miss Antoinette, Miss Iris, Miss Janet, Nikki, Miss Angela, Brother Winford, Brother Mike, Miss Yolanda, Tan, Miss Laura, Miss Lynette. How y'all doing, man? Brother Michael Cruz, what's happening, man? How y'all doing this morning? Coco, what's up? Happy belated birthday. Big shouts out to Courtney Best. I didn't realize you were a July birthday. Happy birthday to you. What's up, Brother Jimmy, Pastor Charlie? Come on. Shouts out to all our July birthdays. How about that? How y'all doing this morning, man? Hey, Miss Malin, Miss Tabitha, Miss Barbara, Miss Andra. How y'all doing, Miss Gigi CC? Hit that share button, y'all. We're going to roll in a second. I need y'all to hit share. I'm blessed. I'm blessed, Stephanie. I'm blessed, man. I'm better than I deserve. Always better than I deserve, man. Um, that's right. July, baby, stand up. We in the building. It's our month, man. It is our month. July is a great month to be born. Huh? You, Chris. Oh man, Crystal, your birthday in July too? I didn't realize that. All right, all right. All right, hit that share. I see y'all hit the share, and I appreciate it, man. So we've been talking, man, like on this singles thing. Oh, and let me say this too. And if you have a question, like send it in, please. Like I appreciate all of the questions I've been getting. I've really been enjoying this. I hope you've been enjoying it as much as I have. Hope it's been blessing you. Um, but let me tell y'all something. Oh, when you have to, and maybe I'm struggling with this because you know maybe I'm just old school. But you have to like tell me I'm married or I'm dating. Um, like you know, DTR. Like when you send me a question, when you ask me a question, like tell me what where you're at, right? Like y'all have this new stuff, man, with me and my partner. And maybe that's part of the problem why there's so much confusion in relationships nowadays because maybe we don't do a good enough job of defining the relationship. I call it the DTR, you know, the DTR. Define the relationship. Uh, I don't know what partner. What does that mean? My partner. What's that? You could be dating partners in what? In crime? Yeah, yeah. I need to know. Yeah, what y'all got a law firm together? What's you got? Y'all got to tell me what's happening. Like, you can't just tell me partner. My partner. Okay, your partner. What are y'all partners in? You know, and I make jest of it, but it's serious, right? Because I don't know. And maybe the problem is that, see, when you don't define the relationship, then the relationship is the definition of the relationship is however they define it. Come on. See, for some of us, we never say to that other person or agree with that other person that this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. And I've seen where she's assumed that because certain things happened, uh, because we laid down together. Come on, somebody. She's assuming that we are in a committed relationship. But we've never said, listen, you can't expect commitment where people don't give it. Whew. You cannot expect commitment where people don't give their commitment. And for many of us, like you have to make sure that the relationship is defined before you invest in it, like it's defined. Because here you are in your mind and you're thinking because certain things have happened. You assume that the relationship is in a place that it may not be. So, like, even if y'all don't define the relationship for you guys, like when you send me a question like define the relationship, me and my husband, me and my wife. Come on. I'm married. I'm dating. My partner, that doesn't say anything. First of all, for me, that's too benign. It it covers everything and doesn't. It's a 10 answer. It covers everything and doesn't touch nothing and touches nothing. I wish Joyce would refer to me as her partner. My partner. My partner and I. What does that even mean? That could be anything. That could be your husband. That could be your wife. That could mean we're married. That could mean we're not. That could mean we're dating. We might just be bed partners. Like I need to know when I'm answering these questions, like, what's the status? Anyway, that's my soapbox for the morning. And you need to know when you're in in these relationships, what's the status? Where am I at? And watch this. You would probably save yourself a whole lot of heartache if you made folk define the relationship before you invested in a relationship that you don't know whether or not it exists. Get the commitment before you make the investment. Woo. Come on. I'm going to say it again. Get the commitment before you make the investment, and only make the investment to the degree and to the degree that you gain the commitment. Come on. you'll save yourself a lot of heartache. You make the investment assuming that the commitment is there, only to find out on the back end, oh no, we're not exclusive. We never said that we were exclusive. We never said that we couldn't date anybody else. Come on. Anyway, we left off. We've been talking about how do I know if I stay in a relationship with someone, Pastor? How do I know if it's time to break it off? And we've talked about all kinds of things. Um, talked about all kinds of things. And yesterday we left off talking about if you find yourself in a situation, and this again, if you're dating, right? Uh, you should really think about whether or not to stop dating a person when the conflict becomes toxic. When the conflict becomes toxic. I want to say this: conflict is a part of being in a relationship. So just because there's conflict, that doesn't mean that we are toxic, right? But if you find yourself in a situation, that there's going to be conflict. I don't care how saved you are, how spiritual you are, it's going to happen, and that's fine. We're going to have conflict, but how you conflict matters, because the key to having a successful, loving relationship, fulfilling relationship, is not that there is no conflict, but I have to ask myself and remember that dating is the testing grounds for marriage. And so I want to see, not that I'm starting conflict just for the sake of seeing, but when we get to the place of conflict, in the natural or unnatural flow of things, I'm watching how this person handles conflict. I want to see how they handle conflict. Do they avoid it? Are they passive? Are they toxic? How do I know if they're toxic, Pastor? Well, one of the things you got to learn to ask yourself about any conflicting situation, y- is this worth is this worth the effort and the energy that we're giving to it? Is the issue worth it? In other words, like, is it worth something that's fighting over? Are we finding ourselves in conflict over things that in my mind should not even be an issue? Is it are we fighting over things that in my mind are not even worth disturbing the peace? See, here's what you got to understand. Some of us only engage in conflict when it's necessary, but you also have to realize that there are people who love nothing more than to be involved in a good conflict. So now here you are, and you're searching for a resolution to the conflict, and you're searching for an answer, and you want it resolved as quickly as possible. And what you don't realize is that you're dealing with a person who just loves conflict, loves drama. You're looking for the answer, and for them, the conflict is the answer. You will be at peace when the conflict is gone. They are satisfied with the fact that we have conflict. Are you with me? Some people look for every opportunity to be involved in some kind of conflict. Pick at every little thing, confront everybody about everything. Come on. Come on. Nothing and no one gets a pass. They looking for an opportunity to fight. Huh? And I want to say this. All couples have conflict. It's a part of it. But if fighting is the norm in your relationship, come on. The other thing, you're watching how they handle conflict. You're watching how they handle conflict. Now, you're not creating conflict just so that you can see. You're not picking fights so that you can see. But when you get to the place where you have conflict, right? How do they handle it? See, do they fight fair? And when I say do they fight fair, see, it's not the fact that you fight, it's how you fight. It's how you fight. It's when you fight. Bible says in Proverbs 17:14, starting a quarrel is like opening a floodgate. Stop. It literally says, so stop. Everybody say that with me. Type that word in the comments. Put it in all caps. Stop. Stop before a dispute breaks out. Now, notice it says starting a quarrel is like opening a floodgate. And then it says, so stop before a dispute breaks out. See, just because we have conflict, that doesn't mean that it has to get toxic. And you have to have the emotional maturity. You have to have the wisdom, and you want to be in relationship with someone who has the wisdom and the ability to stop. Whole lot of conflict could be solved if we would just learn to stop. But before Does this person have the spiritual, emotional, and mental maturity to stop? Do I possess it? Before you say what you're going to say, stop. Ask myself, is it worth it? Okay, it needs to be said. Does it need to be said right now? Is this the best place to do it? Come on. Is this the best time to do it? I was talking with someone with a couple one time, and I could not get over to them that where you disagree matters. If he had a problem with her, he had no problem addressing it right on the spot, no matter who was there and where they were. If she had a problem with him, she had no problem addressing it right on the spot, no matter who was there and where they were. And yet they could not figure out why they couldn't work through their issues in a way that allowed them to move forward. First of all, when you expose, you have to be wise about who you expose your relational trouble to. Second of all, second of all, you have to be wise enough to know what's your goal. Is your goal to resolve the issue, when you put someone, when you put the business out there and you start discussing things in front of other people, no matter where you are and what's going on, now on top of whatever the issue is, we have another issue: embarrassment. So now I have to question your motive. Is your goal resolution, or is your goal to embarrass me? Come on. And even if it's not, so if your goal is to not to embarrass me, that means that you don't have enough wisdom to know when to address issues, because, or you don't care enough. You care more about proving your point than you do about protecting, come on, me in this relationship. Is it worth it? Is it worth the energy that it's going to take to fight? Is it worth the peace? Come on. At some point, man, like you ought to want peace. Come on. Huh? Are y'all with me? You if we're toxic when we're dating, if we're going through all of this when we're dating, if you're already fighting dirty when you're dating, listen, it only gets worse when you're married. See, there's a difference between fighting for dominance and fighting for resolve. And I use that example about fighting in front of other people, but The agenda a lot of times is wrong because at that point I'm fighting for dominance. What does that have to do with dominance, Pastor? Well, my goal, it seems that my goal at that point is protecting my image more than it is protecting the relationship. See, when someone fights their partner for dominance, they want to win. They want to be right. The goal is me over you. The goal is to bring you into submission to my will. And the problem with that is that submission to my will should never be the ultimate goal in a God honoring relationship. I'm going to say that again because there are some married folks who need to hear that. The goal should never be to bring you into submission to my will. That should never be the goal in a God honoring relationship. The goal in a God honoring relationship should always be for both of us to be in submission to the will of God. Woo! Because, watch this, the will of God for all couples is that we bring Him glory through our relationships. And we cannot bring Him glory as long as we are not in fellowship. We are not bringing Him glory as long as we are fighting in a toxic way. Y'all with me? So when we fight, the goal has to be resolution, not control. I'm going to say that again. The goal has to be resolution and not control. Resolution, not dominance. And the reason why this is important when you're dating is because listen. You ready for this? You want someone who will love you more than they love having their way. Woo! I'm going to say it again. You want someone who will love you more than they love having their way. You want to be in a relationship with someone who loves God more than they love having their own way. Come on. And watch this. You want to love that person. Your goal should be to love that person more than you love having your own way. Mm. Why do you say this, Pastor? Because yeah, you I don't know if y'all ready for this, but y'all know me, I don't care. I'm gonna say it anyway. Because marriage, a successful marriage consists of sacrifice, way self-sacrifice, way more than it consists of romance. Listen, a successful marriage consists of sacrifice way more than it consists of romance. The way you get to the romance is through self-sacrifice. Pastor, where did the romance thing come from? That seems like it came out of left field. What is that? Because most of the time, the reason why we're fighting is because we're trying to get back to the romance. I want you to love me like I'm supposed to be loved. I want you to treat me like I'm supposed to be treated. I want you to see my worth. I want you to see my value. And I'm going to fight you. I'm not going to walk away, but I'm going to fight you until you see my worth, until you see my value. I'm going to fight you to make sure that you're treating me like I'm supposed to be treated. Woo. So we're trying to get back to the romance. And here's the deal. You ready? The only way to get back to the romance is when you have two people who are dying to self every day. It's got to be self-sacrifice more than it is self-indulgence. And what happens is we try to get back to this place where we are loving one another through self-indulgence. But here's the problem. Number one, the moment that I become selfish, I just tied God's hands. Woo! Number two, when I become selfish, not only do I tie God's hands, watch this. What, Pastor, what do you mean I tie God's hands? Because God is, listen to me, baby. God is never going to help you be more about you. I don't care what those people told you. God is never going to certify your infatuation with yourself. Are y'all getting this? The way to have an amazing relationship, a healthy marriage, there's one way to do it. I got to wake up every day and say, how do I die to myself today for the sake of this relationship? Well, Pastor, like I'm doing, what about when I'm doing that, but they're not? If you see it and you're dating, if you're in the date, that's why the dating phase is so important, because if you see it and you're dating, red flag. Because you listen to me, you will never force someone to love you like you're supposed to be loved. Woo! And if you could force them to love you like you're supposed to be loved, then it's not genuine love anyway. Mm. And so, what I'm watching for while I'm dating is, does this person understand that we are being called into this relationship to serve one another and not ourselves? Does this person understand while I'm dating that God is calling us into this relationship to serve one another and not ourselves? Listen, you cannot have a healthy marriage without dying to self. You can't have a blessed marriage without crucifying your flesh. You can't have a blessed marriage if you're not willing to get over you. And so when I get involved in conflict with this person, what I'm first of all, I'm practicing getting over myself, and I'm watching to see whether or not they're willing to get over themselves, to put their own interests to the side. Or are we gonna be together the type of couple who can give God glory because we are committed to serving one another as we serve Him? And listen, I'm gonna say this to you because some of you are saying to yourselves right now that's not me. Listen, that's not me, Pastor. If you can't do that, don't get married. Straight up. I'm gonna say it again. If you are not the type of person who's willing to put your own interest to the side and serve the person you're with, then you're not ready to get married. Do yourself and the world and your future children a favor and stay single. Ooh. See, because for some of us, the reason why we have not found the right person is because we are too preoccupied with us. That there, listen, you're so full of yourself that there's not any room for anybody else. And the reason why you're upset with me right now is because not because what I'm saying is wrong, but because you are so hooked on you that you can't see yourself laying down your life for the sake of somebody else. And it might be that you can't do this because of past hurts and experiences. So don't mistake me as being insensitive or not considering at all, because I get it that sometimes you can't do it because of past hurts and experiences. But number one, let's be honest about it, okay? Let's not lie to ourselves about it. If I'm not in a place in my life where I can do it, then let's first of all, I gotta tell the truth about it, because I can't fix what I'm not honest about. I cannot fix what I'm not willing to admit. And it might be that I have this issue, this preoccupation with self. It might be that I, and that's why I'm gonna say this. That's why you want somebody who's serving God. Because if the fact, if you run into somebody who Well, let me not get there. It might be that you can't do it because of past relationships. Maybe you've been with somebody who's shown you that in that relationship you have to look out for you and that you can't trust them enough to lay down your life with them. But listen, if that's the case, do yourself a favor. Don't get married. The other thing is, you ready for this? I can't fix what I'm not willing to admit. And if I'm in a relationship with somebody, or I have been in a relationship with somebody where I've had this to learn this behavior of looking out for me, right? I can't fix what I'm not willing to admit. And at some point, I have to admit that I picked them. I have to admit at some point that I chose them. See, it's not all their fault that I'm in a relationship with somebody who only looks out for themselves. Part of my healing process has to be going back and saying, all right, I I invested too much before I knew who I was investing in. I moved too fast before I knew who I was moving with. And so part of my inability to trust is my own fault. I'm not responsible for their character, but I have to hold myself accountable for not giving myself the time and the space. Come on, somebody. And what I needed to see their character before I invested too much. Woo! And prior to me being willing to recognize that in myself, and prior to me being going doing what is necessary to allow God to heal me, I'm not ready to get married. I'm not even ready to be in a relationship. Because as unfair as it is, whatever they did to me, it is equally or more unfair if I visit their sins upon the next person who I go into a relationship with. Mm. Why are you saying this, Pastor? Because the only way that marriage works is when you have two people who are fully committed to meeting the needs of one another. Any ship that's one-sided starts to sink. Any ship that has too much weight on one side is going to sink. Pick back up there tomorrow. tomorrow I'm going to talk about on this dating thing. How do I know when it's time to cut off the dating relationship? We're going to dive into when you figure out you can't trust them. When you figure out you can't trust them. When you figure out you can't trust them. And that's a huge one because many of us look past the trust factor. And we trust people who've shown us that they can't be trusted. So we marry into a prison of mistrust. See, listen, and I hope I'm not being too harsh, but you have to quit torturing yourself and blaming other people. You got to stop drinking the poison and blaming the person who made it. I'm going to say that again. You got to stop choosing to drink the poison and then blaming the person who made it. Hit that share button if you hadn't done so already. I appreciate each and every one of you. Those of you who've already hit share. Thank y'all for hanging out with me every morning, man. I appreciate y'all. Pastor, I've got a question that I have not asked. I thought about a question that I want to ask. How do I do it? Text ask ASK to 98526. Thank you for the stars. I appreciate it. To 985-260-8411. Again, you're texting the word ask to 985-260-8411. Pastor, I want to invest in what God is doing here, man. Thanks, Tanisha. I appreciate the stars. You're a blessing. Uh, I want to pour into your life. I want to sow into this ministry. You go to communitych.com/give. And if you want to do Jumpstart in particular, you go to other and just type Jumpstart in there and give whatever God tells you to. Pastor, I want to sow into your life. How do I do it? That same spot, communitych.com/give. And you pick love offering, and you can give a love offering that way. You can also text the word give to 985-260-8411 and do the same thing. Another way you support is by giving us thumbs up on YouTube, by hitting that share button on Facebook. And if you hadn't followed us on any of our platforms, make sure that when that you get there and you select that follow button. Of course, on YouTube, it's subscribe. And so, if it's the Lord's will, I will see y'all right back here tomorrow morning as we dive more into this subject. Lord, watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. Father, I thank you for everybody who's tuned in. I pray your blessings over them, your peace around them, your wisdom for them. I pray, Father, that today, Lord, especially for that person who's hurting, who's really going through it, that they would experience an overwhelming sense of your presence. Lord, if you choose to not pull them out of the valley, Lord, I know you're in the valley with them, but I pray, Father, that you, Lord, would let them hear your voice ever so clearly. Let them experience your presence in a way that they can't deny that you're with them. And I know, Father, that along with your presence comes your peace in spite of the circumstance. And we thank you and we praise you for who you are. It's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen. God bless y'all, man. See y'all tomorrow morning.